Richard III. I'm going to repeat this a few times. Richard III. Now is the winter of our discontent, make glorious summer by the son of you, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, upraised arms, and copper monuments outstern alarms charged to the many meetings. Our dreadful marches to the life of measures, grim visage war, as smooth as wrinkled front now, instead of mountain barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he gave us nimbly in a lighty's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I that am not shaped or supported tricks, not made to court and amorous looking glass, I that am truly stamped at one love's majesty, just tread before no one to amlative. I that am good tale of this very proportion, cheated to feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing where our scarce have made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable the dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, but unless to see my shadow in the sun and discount on my own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain, and hate the idle pleasure of these days. Plots I have laid, induction dangerous by drunken prophecies, libels and dreams, to send my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate the one against the other. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am, sorrowful and treacherous this day, should Clarence closely be mute about a prophecy which says that Jehovah's heirs to murder shall be. Dive thoughts down to my soul, here Clarence comes. I repeat the monologue. Now is the winter of our discontent, make glorious summer with the son of your good, and all the clouds are loud upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, upraised arms, hung for monument us. Stern alarms changed to many meanings, our dreadful marches to the life of measures, grim visage war as smooth as wrinkled front, and now, instead of mountain barbed steeds to fright the soul of fearful adversary, he gave us nimbly in a lady's chambers, to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I that am not shaped for spotted tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass, I that am truly stamped at one love's majesty, just tread before an ambling nymph, I that am good tale of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, and before my time into this breathing where scars have made up, and that's all lamely and unfashionable the dogs bark at me as I hold by them. Why I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time unless to see my shadow in the sun and discount my own deformity, and therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots have I laid, induction dangerous by drunken prophecies, libels and dreams. This am my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate the one against the other, and if King Edward be as true and just as I am, sorrowful and treacherous souls of free of the adversary, the campus, numbling the latest chambers, the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, the damnation was what it checks, no made to court and I'm just looking glass eye, that I'm only something one loves majesty to start before one thing gambling never I, that I'm not tell of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by the stumbling nature, the form unfinished that before my time into the breathing world's gods I have made up, and then so lamely and offended, but the dogs bark at me as I hot by them my eye, and this week by midtime of peace have not the light to pass away the time, unless to see my shadow in the sun and just kind of mount the forward in the forest, and I cannot prove what love was and say these farewell spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Floods have I laid, induction dangerous by drunken prophecies, labels and dreams, as that my brother Clarence and the king and deadly hate the one against the other. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am, sort of false and treacherous, this day should Clarence closely be moved up about a prophecy that which says that Edgy of Edward's heirs, the murderer should be in dive down thoughts, dive thoughts down to my soul. Here Clarence comes every beat again. Let me try it differently. Now is the winter. Now is the winter of a discontent, make glorious summer by the son of Yokar, and other clouds that lowered upon our house and the bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with couture, now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths. Opposite arms, for monuments are stern albums charged with many meanings. Our stern albums changed to many meanings, our dreadful marches. Our dreadful marches to the life of pleasures, our dreadful marches to the life of measures, grim visage wore her smoother wrinkled front. And now, instead of mountain barbs, teased to fright the soul of evil adversary, they came stumbling all in his chambers to the lascivious pleasing of lute. But I, that am now shaped for sporting tricks, now made the court, and amorous looking glass eye that am really stamped, and one loves majesty to strut before one thing, ambling nymph. I, that am could tell of this fair proportion, cheated of feature, by dissembling nature, the form unfinished and before my time into the spring the world's gods have made up, and thus so lamely and unfashionable. The dogs bark at me as I hot by them, while I in this weak piping time of peace have not the light to pass away the time, unless to see my shadow in the sun and to scan my own deformity, and therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these farewell spoken days, I am determined to prove a willing and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots have I laid, induction dangerous by drunken prophecies, libels and dreams, to set my brother Clarence and the king and deadly hate the one against the other, and if King Edward be as true, as just as I am subtle, false and treacherous, this day should Clarence closely be mewed up about a prophecy which says that Edgy of Edward's heirs to murder shall be. Dive thoughts down to my soul. Here Clarence comes. Now is the winter. Now is the winter of our discontent. Now is the winter of our discontent. Make glorious summer by the son of York. Make glorious summer by the son of York. And all the clouds that lowered upon our house and the deep bosom of the ocean. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths. Uprooted armor hung upon monuments are sterns. Uprooted arms hung upon monuments are stern albums changed with many meetings. Our stern albums changed to many meetings. Our dreadful marches to the life of measures. Good envisaged wore her smooth as wrinkled front. And now instead of mountain barbers teased to fright the soul of fearful adversaries, he came as numbly in the latest chambers to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I that am not shaped for sporting tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass eye, that am newly stamped in one loves majesty to strut before the one thing ambling nymph, I that am got was pocket days, and I am determined to prove a lilling. I am determined to prove a villain. Any the idle pleasures of these days, plots have I laid. Plots have I laid. Induction dangerous by drunken prophecies, labors and dreams, to set my brother Clarence and the king and deadly hate the one against the other, and if King Edward be as true and just as I am, subtle, false, and treacherous, this day should Clarence closely be viewed about a prophecy which says that ye of it saith the murder shall be dived down thoughts to my soul. Here Clarence comes. Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, subscribe if you really, well, I'm asking, please subscribe, like,